Over the last few weeks, the Striker 45 has gained a lot of popularity, and not quite sure why. It doesn't really do anything that well, other than it takes a few shots to the chest to kill with it, but time to kill just is not there. Let's take a look at the numbers now to show you guys what I'm talking about. So its claim to fame here is going to be, looking right here, you see a .694 time to kill, offering 55 damage to the head, 34 damage to the chest within 22 meters. That means 5 shots to the head with 3 plates, or 8 shots to the chest with 3 plates. Mind you, this is the least amount of any of these guns, except for the amp. The amp, which should be dropping this week, is likely to definitely disturb the meta, so keep an eye out on that. We'll cover that when that comes out. But looking at like true game data, there are several ways to build this gun, and here are just a few of the ways that I built it, depending on what I'm doing, and playstyle definitely has an impact on this. So let's take a look at these builds and let me explain to you why I did what I did. Probably the most versatile version of the Striker 45 is going to be this setup. This one nets you 204 millisecond ADS time, 83 millisecond sprint to fire, 146 millisecond tac sprint, as well as 4.74 meters per second run speed. It does have the slowest. It does have one of the slowest ADS movement speeds of the group, but I mean, it's pretty much a jack of all trades and master of none as far as the Striker 45 goes, but it gets the job done in pretty much every circumstance. If you're somebody that frequently uses an ADS gun, this is the setup that I would go with. This is the Monolith, the TAC laser, the 45 round mags, the EXO grip, and the Survivalist series stock. This is going to give you the fastest by far ADS time at 183 milliseconds, and it's still getting you that sprint to fire time of 83, as well as a 146 tac sprint. This gun also has the fastest movement speed of the group, as well as the fastest ADS movement speed at 2.86 meters per second. So the only thing that I would mention with this setup is going to be the laser. I am not a laser fan, because the moment you sight up, within 30 meters, people can see that laser, and they know exactly where you are. So I do not prefer to use lasers at all. Instead, I would probably go with a Commando foregrip personally. If you're trying to ease yourself into this gun and learn how the gun kind of moves and works, this is the way to do it, especially with a controller. It's going to be the monolithic, the 400mm stainless barrel, and the Merc foregrip, as well as the rubber rear grip. Of course, the 45 round mags. So this is going to be the slowest moving, slowest just in general, but it does have one of the faster ADS movement speeds, so there's that to take into consideration. So this one we're sitting at 360 millisecond ADS time, 117 sprint to fire, and 217 tac sprint. The 4.65 movement speed is the slowest of the group, and the 2.45 meters per second movement speed is also the slowest of the group. This gun also has the worst hip fire of the group, so there's that too, but it does have the best bullet velocity. So the bullet velocity is a good 110 meters per second faster than the others. So if for some crazy reason you're shooting past 40 meters, you could probably actually hit the target, but at that point, you should be using your AR anyway. The setup you see here is the hip fire setup. This gun has a fairly mediocre ADS. It does have the fastest sprint and fastest tac sprint to fire time. So we're sitting at 259 milliseconds for the ADS, 74 and 117 milliseconds for the sprint to fire and tac sprint to fire times. The movement speed is, again, mediocre, 4.79, and again, offering another mediocre ADS movement speed of 2.66 meters per second. But it does offer by far the least amount of hip fire spread. See, and the thing with this gun is I'm not sure the sprint to fire really matters because of how slow the time to kill is. Yes, if you hit your shots, the thing just slaps, but you need to hit your shots, and hip fire is just not as reliable as an ADS setup, so there is that to consider. Being as this gun is really good out to like 20-22 meters, I've been pairing it with the DMR or something along those lines, and we'll cover the DMR loadout in the next video, so be sure to subscribe for that. But let's get into some gameplay of the Striker 45. I can kind of explain a few things about it, and we'll discuss why I think it's actually a decent gun for what it is, and why it has some shortfalls versus the other guns that are available right now, and the ones that are coming especially. Alright guys, let's play around with the Striker 45 and actually see what this gun has to offer. Let's have a little talk about it as well, because there are a few things about this gun that make it a great gun, and there are a few things that make it just kind of useless when looking at the other SMGs. For the most part, I mean, let's be honest, when you're pulling an SMG out, you're probably going to be in that, 10-20 meter range? Which, yes, the Striker 45 has the 22 meter basically limit. And that's actually like kind of awesome, really, if you think about it, because it gives you the opportunity to actually reach out and touch some people. Because, I mean, if you think about it, like, that is 18 meters, 20 meters. Like, that's not really that far. Once you start getting out past that point, the drop-offs are pretty significant. But let's grab a bounty and see if we can chase some people down. Well, that clears that up pretty quickly, doesn't it? He came right to us, able to kind of move around him and hit my shots. That went pretty well. Let's grab a most wanted. Crap, here he comes. Outplayed again. Sure, as you can imagine, as you play with the gun a little more, things get kind of more comfortable for you. I mean, there are a lot of little quirky things that this gun does. Like, let's get inside and let's head to somewhere where I can kind of show you some bullet spread. I'm going to aim at the baseboard. And you see, there isn't really a ton of recoil. It's all pretty much vertical. It's slightly up to the left. That makes it pretty easy to just kind of pull the mouse down and manage that. Jesus chimney, dude. I don't know how I did that, but I think at this point we're going to call the Striker 45 good but not great. There are definitely better options out there, but that being said, guys, if you appreciated this video, give it a like. If you like me, give me a subscribe. Have a good one. I'll see you around.